The sun hung high over the vast savanna, its golden rays casting long shadows on the ground. A crowd of animals, elephants, zebras, monkeys, and antelopes, had gathered beneath the great baobab tree, whispering excitedly. Today, Tortoise, the most unexpected challenger, would face the mighty lion's test. The Lion King sat atop a high rock, his golden mane glistening. His deep voice boomed over the crowd. Tortoise, you wish to rule, but a king must prove his strength and wisdom. Your first challenge is this. Bring me the golden feather from the mountain of spirits. No one who has gone there has ever returned. You have 3 days. A murmur of fear rippled through the crowd. The mountain of spirits was a place of mystery and danger. It was said to be guarded by ancient spirits and powerful winds that could carry a creature away. Tortoise, however, only smiled. He bowed slightly and said, "A wise king never fears a challenge, Your Majesty." Then, without another word, he turned and began his long journey. Tortoise moved slowly, as he always did, but his mind raced ahead. He had heard the stories of the mountain's dangers, the fierce spirits, the sharp rocks, and the whispering winds. But every problem had a solution, and he would find it. As he traveled through the savannah, he met a flock of birds resting in a small tree. The leader of the birds, an old parrot named Olo, called down to him. "Tortoise, where are you going?" "To the mountain of spirits, my friend," Tortoise replied. The birds gasped. "No one has ever returned from that place." Tortoise chuckled. "Then it is time someone did. Tell me, Olo, what do you know of the mountain?" Olo flapped his wings and said, "The spirits will try to frighten you. They whisper lies and create illusions, but the real danger is the wind. It carries away those who do not know how to stand their ground." Tortoise nodded thoughtfully. "Thank you, Olo. I will remember that." By nightfall, Tortoise reached the base of the mountain. It was a towering mass of jagged rocks, with thick mists swirling around its peak. A low hum filled the air, a sound that was neither wind nor voice, but something in between. As Tortoise began his climb, the voices of the spirits echoed around him. "Turn back, little one. You are too weak to climb this mountain. You will never leave this place alive." Tortoise chuckled. "I have heard worse from angry monkeys." The voices grew louder, twisting into howls and screams. But Tortoise did not stop. He climbed steadily, gripping the rough rocks with his stubby legs. Halfway up, a great wind roared down the mountain. It howled like a wild beast, lifting pebbles and dust into the air. Tortoise ducked inside his shell just as the wind tried to snatch him away. But he was heavy and low to the ground. The wind could not move him. After several minutes, the wind died down, and Tortoise continued climbing. At last, he reached the top. There, standing in the middle of a glowing pool of water, was a single golden feather shimmering in the moonlight. But just as he stepped forward, the mist thickened, and a towering figure emerged. It was a spirit guardian, its eyes glowing like fire. "Who dares to take the sacred feather?" the spirit boomed. Tortoise did not tremble. Instead, he bowed low and said, "Great Spirit, I come not for greed, but for a test. The Lion King has set this challenge before me. I seek the feather to prove my wisdom." The spirit studied him for a long moment, then nodded. "You are wise to speak with respect, but the feather is not given. It must be taken. If you can hold it in your hands, it is yours." Tortoise stepped forward. But as soon as he reached out, the wind returned, stronger than before. It roared and twisted, trying to blow him off the mountain. Tortoise did not panic. He remembered Olo's words. The wind carries away those who do not know how to stand their ground. So instead of reaching directly for the feather, he used his strongest weapon, his patience. He crouched low and waited. The wind howled, but Tortoise remained still. Slowly, the wind began to lose strength. The mountain grew quiet. Only then did Tortoise move. He stretched out his leg and gently pulled the feather towards him. The moment his claws touched it, the spirit disappeared, and the mist lifted. Tortoise smiled. A wise king does not fight the storm. He waits for it to pass. With the golden feather in his grip, he began his journey back to the Lion King. 3 days later, the animals gathered once more beneath the great baobab tree. The Lion King sat on his high rock, expecting to hear that Tortoise had failed. But then, a hush fell over the crowd. From the distance, slow but steady, Tortoise appeared, and in his grip, gleaming in the sunlight, was the golden feather. Gasps of shock and admiration spread through the animals. Even the Lion King's eyes widened. Tortoise bowed and said, "The first challenge is complete, Your Majesty." The Lion King studied him for a long moment. Then, for the first time, he gave a small nod of respect. "You are clever, Tortoise, but the next challenge will not be so easy." The animals cheered, but Tortoise only smiled. The journey was far from over. Little did he know, his next challenge would test more than just his wisdom. It would test his courage. End of episode 2. The adventure continues. Will Tortoise survive the next challenge? Tortoise has conquered the first test, proving his wisdom by retrieving the golden feather from the Mountain of Spirits. But the Lion King is not done with him yet. The next challenge will push Tortoise beyond his limits, testing not just his wit, but his courage. Will he outsmart the dangers ahead, or will this be the end of his journey? Subscribe now to All African Folktale 110 and be the first to watch episode 3 of The Tortoise King. Don't miss out on this thrilling African folktale. Subscribe now and join the adventure.